Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode number
5
of Ask A WAI, and we're in our brand new, decorated studio.
Yeah, we brought it out. We brought out all the decorations. You see
No
right there.
expense spared for Ask A WAI.
A Law t-shirt from our stock.
And I want to thank our sponsors, the pins that we use to tack into the wall.
4 thumbtacks.
4 thumbtacks, everyone. They're not just for landing on.
No, we gotta, we okayed the budget. We got those 4 thumbtacks. Now we have a fully decorated studio.
I want to start off, Wai, by asking you, are you excited that the two of us are going to travel to Miami together and be attached at the hip for 4 days straight?
Yeah, of course I am. I'm very excited. But you know what? We'll be cabbing it this time, so...
oh, yeah, we won't have driving.
We won't be crossing the border, and I won't be having to watch John just go...
I am a very impatient person. Yeah. I will admit that.
We will have quite a few delays at the airport, though, so I have that to look forward to.
That is true.
We'll be drinking, though, this time.
Yeah, it's okay. If ever there's a time that you want to listen to us, it will be WrestleMania weekend. We'll have plenty of podcasts, and we'll have plenty of stuff we're going to be shooting down in Miami over WrestleMania weekend. So much stuff going on.
Drinking water, by the way.
Yes, and beer.
No, I don't.
Shots.
I don't know.
It's Miami.
I don't know if we should talk about that.
No, there will be none of that going on at all. But what is going on are your questions, and that's what we are going to get to. Brand new thread up at reviewaway.com. We're going to start off with Matt McCauley. Wants to know what our favorite entrance music is of all time.
Oh.
Mine is an easy one. The fabulous Rougeau Brothers from Montreal to Memphis.
Yeah, well, that's a great one.
A classic one, written, I believe, by Jimmy Hart.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, man. I guess Jericho's is really good. I like that. But you know what? Never mind. It's Jushin Thunder Ligers. That is an easy choice, too.
Yes, Jushin.
There's no other.
The Japanese ones, they always had some great tunes.
That's right.
I mean, Ricky Fukuda actually using an old All Japan tune at UFC 144.
Oh, okay.
So some very big ones out there. Fabulous Rougeau's is hands down my favorite.
Yeah.
All right. Lee Blanchard writes, what are your thoughts on the upcoming Wrestling Retribution project, and do you think that streaming media such as Netflix will be a viable option for other wrestling companies to release episodes in a serial format in the future?
I absolutely think so.
I love the concept.
I really do. And we had Dave Lagana on once, and we actually kind of got into a brief discussion about it. I don't know why companies like ROH, with the catalog like they have, they don't look into this. I mean, or look into almost like an album format on iTunes where you break up your matches on a card, say 99 cents a match, or if it's a longer match, $2, $5, or maybe that's a bit much.
I think wrestling, especially at the top end, has really lagged in terms of embracing different avenues of revenue. I mean, ROH getting on Roku boxes, I think, has been huge. I think Netflix is big. iTunes, even. It's like WWE is really slow to get onto iTunes.
Is the WWE not on Netflix right now?
They do have their stuff now. Yeah, but it's they've always seemed to have a hesitancy towards new technology rather than trying to jump onto stuff before it really explodes. I mean, look at Twitter and Facebook and stuff like that, where 3 years ago there was no presence of any of that social media in the WWE.
For companies that are basing their business around DVD sales, I mean, this is the new DVD. It's much more accessible and much easier for people to get.
Yeah.
So I don't see
but one other thing about Wrestling Retribution Project I like is the fact that it's an enclosed season. I mean, people always ask me, I want to get into ROH, where should I start? I mean, with this concept, it's 12 episodes with a beginning, middle, and end, and if you love it, great. It's going to all conclude within 12 episodes, and it's not just an ongoing promotion where it's just, you can be spending money forever on it. It's all enclosed.
And do we have a target date for when that'll...
I haven't heard yet. It was supposed to be first quarter of this year. So
a trailer's already up on YouTube, isn't there? Yeah, so
we'll try and chat with Jeff Katz closer to that. Dave Maverick Mitchell. Is the law in your review shows your job or a part of it? As in, do you get paid? Do you make money, Wai?
We make money doing our regular jobs. We have jobs aside from doing the podcast, but we are able to take out certain hours of the day to devote to things like this, talking to you guys. recording our Review Away podcast. But like by and large, most of the time it's just on our own. Like we definitely don't get paid to watch Raw and then, you know, do the podcast at night. So it's a bit of both.
James Contrino, what was the first job you each had? What was your first job, boy?
I worked in a daycare.
No way,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah, I worked in a daycare for like a week, and yeah, it was not that much fun.
My first job was when I was 13 years old, and I was hired by this company called Teen's Heart, and it was to go door to door selling chocolate bars. And each chocolate bar cost $3, and this was a commission-based job. So every chocolate bar I sold, I would get $1, and I had to somehow spin it to convince someone that spending $3 on a no-name chocolate bar was better than buying a Mars bar for 85 cents at the time.
So how did you do?
There were good days and bad days. There were days I'd work for 5 hours and I'd have $7 at the end of it.
Then that was a bad day.
That was a bad day.
Yeah.
But then I think my peak was I sold like 40 bars in one day.
Wow.
But
Okay.
it was tough. It was just hours and hours of selling chocolate bars. And then you would finally be down to like a couple more, and the boss would come and he'd give you a stack of 20 more. I was like, I can't sell these. It was rough. I didn't feel good about having to lie and just trying to tell people why it's so important. You didn't need to buy this chocolate bar. It was simply to make money. You had to dress it up a bit. All right, let's go to Joe Law. What wrestler is there? He wrote, peak, past, or present, dead or alive, would you bring back to WWE now and would make a noticeable difference? What a loaded question.
Any wrestler that I could bring back from the dead that would make a difference to business right now? Very hard to say.
Brian Pillman.
Okay.
Questions like this are tough because
Yeah.
it's just like,
Ludwig Borga.
who is the greatest wrestler of all time? Favorite place you've ever traveled to, writes Jonathan Pine.
Tokyo. Hands down.
Where have I gone? I went to England 1 year. That was fun. But I was ready to go after a week. I'm not a big traveler.
Aren't you in New York? Don't you like New York?
New York was great, actually.
I
I've
love
gone
New
3
York, too.
times to New York.
Yeah.
So that was a fun time. I went to Chicago last summer. Chicago was great.
That's cool.
The first time I went, I wasn't impressed with Chicago. But then the second time, I got to see more of the city. All right, we go to Theo. I really enjoyed your conversation with Ashley Six about Fight Pro Wrestling. Do you guys check out many independent shows? Who are some local wrestlers worth checking out? Yes, Fight Brand has their 4th show coming up, so go check them out. Fightbrand.ca.
Fightbrand.ca. If you're in the Toronto area. As for other shows, I mean, honestly, not too much aside from what we're told to cover at work.
Alpha One runs regularly out of Hamilton.
Yeah.
Squared Circle does a lot of shows, basically in Vaughan at the Trio Sportplex. I mean, there's some really talented guys in Ontario. I mean, Tyson Dukes has been working for years and years, and unfortunately, never just got that big break. Sebastian Suave is a guy I really enjoy watching. There's a number of different guys. Michael Elgin kind of came from the Ontario Indies, and now he's doing great stuff up at
He's
Ring
still
of Honor.
around. He still does a lot of shows in the area.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys that are just coming up that I encourage you to go check out. But a lot of indie shows happen on Sundays and Sunday afternoons, and Sundays are pretty hectic for me with the law, and I don't go to as many as I would like to. Let's move on and go to Chad Rivera. This question is more towards John. Could you talk about the time period this past year from when the law left satellite radio up until you guys signed on with TSN? I remember Jason said on one of the podcast shows that you had several offers from other stations and companies about bringing the law there. What were those offers? And if you guys hadn't gotten any offers to bring the law to radio, would you have kept going with it in the podcast form?
And you have 30 seconds to go.
Oh, shoot. I don't want to get into specifics, but we did have quite a few offers, and thus we didn't really have that problem of what were we going to do, because it was pretty... One led to the other and was serious. It was just a case of... It was a mandate from the CRTC to get an Aboriginal channel on. It bumped off the Sirius channel, and the whole station was just converted over, and obviously there was no need to have us on an Indigenous station. So that's it in a nutshell. But when we write the law book, maybe we'll go into more. But that's all the time we've got, everyone. Go to reviewaway.com, liveaudiowrestling.com. Steve Austin and Vader on the show this Sunday night, 11 Eastern on TSN Radio, 1050 Toronto.